How are you all? I hope you all are fine and safe at your home. My name is Bhargavi, a faculty member of Shri Vasishtha Vidyalaya, and today I am going to teach you English for class 3. Our today's topic is Chapter 3, The Old House. Now children, let's have a quick look about the introduction of the characters in this lesson. Mr. and Mrs. Bura, Mr. Lallu, Miss Pillu, Mr. and Mrs. Khushi, and Mr. Fulji. Now children, let's start our lesson by a small activity. The question is, what kind of a house would you like to live in? Choose from the table. For that, 4 types of options are given. The first is type of house. For that, options are flat, cottage or bungalow. Second number is location of the house. The first option is riverside, city or seaside. The third is number of rooms in your house. For that, options are 2, 3 or 4. And fourth one is the view of your house. Garden, pool or play area. Children, this is activity just for the base of learning. Now, your next activity will be draw and color your own dream house. Now children, let's start our lesson. In this lesson, Mr. and Mrs. Bura are not happy with their house. Let's find out what do they do with it. There was once an old house near a river. It had dull grey doors, dull grey windows, dull grey curtains and dull grey walls. Children, you can see that the word dull has been highlighted here. The meaning of that is not bright or shiny, which is already given in your textbook. Mr. and Mrs. Bura had lived in this house for more than 50 years. One day, Mr. Bura and his wife went to visit a friend. The friend's house had red walls and bright yellow doors. Children, the meaning of bright here is strong and easy to see. Now, the windows had curtains with a pattern of pink and blue checks. The meaning of pattern is a regular arrangement of lines, shapes or colors. There was a small garden with green grass and colorful flowers. When Mr. and Mrs. Bura came back home, they said to each other, "Our house is very dull. Let's sell this house and buy a pretty one." Next day, Mr. Bura put up a board in front of the house. The board said, "For sale." First, Mr. Lallu came to look at the house. "No," he said, "this house is too grey for me. I would like to live in a red house." And he went away. "Let's paint the outside red," said Mr. Bura. "Maybe someone will buy it then." So they painted the outside of their house a bright cherry red. Miss Pillu came to look at the house. "I like a house with yellow doors and windows and pretty curtains," she said, and Miss Pillu went away. On hearing this, Mr. Bura painted the doors and windows a bright sunny yellow. Mrs. Bura hung up new curtains with a pattern of orange and purple checks. Then Mr. and Mrs. Khushi came to see the house. They liked it from outside, but were shocked when they stepped inside. "Oh no, it is so dark and grey inside," they said. And Mr. and Mrs. Khushi went away too. So Mr. and Mrs. Bura painted the walls inside the house. They painted some walls blue and some pink. After some time, Mr. Fulji came to see the house. "This is a very pretty house," he said, "but it won't do for me. I am looking for a house with a garden." And shaking his head, Mr. Fulji too went away. The old couple began to work on making a garden in the small patch of land outside their house. Very soon, thick green grass grew all around, and one day there were flowers blooming, red and orange and pink and white flowers. Children, the meaning of blooming is process of flowering. Now, someone will surely buy this house. Then, at last, we can buy the house. "Yes," answered Mr. Bhura. "With a little garden around it?" asked Mr. Bhura. "Yes, yes," exclaimed Mr. Bhura. Children, the meaning of exclaimed is to say something suddenly and loudly, especially because of strong emotion or pain. Mrs. Bhura laughed merrily. "Look around you," she said. Puzzled, Mr. Bhura looked around. "Hey," he said in surprise. "This is a pretty house, isn't it? Just what we wanted." So, Mr. and Mrs. Bhura went on living in their own house near the river. In this lesson, Mr. and Mrs. Bhura transformed their old house into a very pretty one, exactly like the one they wished to buy. The changes made by them proved beneficial, and they continue to live in their pretty house near the river. Children, through this lesson, we got the message that through transformation and hard work, even the things which we don't like turns into very beautiful things. Children, now let us learn the word meanings of this lesson. The first number is dull. The meaning of dull is not bright or shining. Second number is bright. The meaning of bright is strong and easy to see. Number 3 is pattern. The meaning of pattern is a regular arrangement of lines, shapes or colors. Fourth number is blooming. The meaning of blooming is process of flowering. Fifth number is exclaimed. The meaning of exclaimed is to say something suddenly and loudly, especially because of strong emotion or pain. Children, I hope you are very much clear with the word meanings and the story of the lesson. Thank you.